The left thinks that no matter what they do, we're going to let them get away with it. They think that we will abandon Trump. They actually think that they can get him on things. Well, they've tried to get him before. They tried to get him with Russia collusion. They tried to get him with the 2 impeachment hoaxes. They've tried to get him so many times, and it never works. I mean, do they think that we would actually believe that he is holding things in his home at Mar-a-Lago that are putting our nation at risk? Well, my question for Biden and the left is, how are you putting our nation at risk? Hunter Biden is sleeping around with people in other countries. He's been doing deals. What about Ukraine? What about the corruption of Hillary Clinton? What about the emails? You know, if we're going to talk about national security and the government actually doing investigations, then they need to be looking into their own side. And, you know, meanwhile, Trump and Melania, I mean, they're at Mar-a-Lago. They're probably, you know, going golfing. I mean, I know Trump is super busy, but it's like, this is not who you need to be going after, you guys, if you haven't already tried going after Trump enough. And this has backfired on the left in a huge way, in a bigger way than I think they ever imagined, because I think they're actually regretting this now and wish that they never went after Trump, and are wishing that they actually just kind of maybe ignored him, or we're just kind of going to stay on the sidelines. But no, they've decided to skyrocket Trump to the front of the primaries. He is now beating any possible person that could go against him. I mean, I think he would have won a primary against anyone anyways. But I think this obviously makes him the clear front runner, because it just shows us how radical the left is and how gangsterized they are to use the FBI, to use the DOJ, to use literally these federal government institutions that are supposed to be, you know, standing up for every American, to have a political party weaponize those against a political opponent shows us that we are in dark times. We are in times that are darker than we could have imagined, and we need someone who's going to be at the forefront, who's a fighter, and who is going to stand up against this radical juggernaut, this massive institution, which I call the left, and all of its arms. It's like an octopus. It has the media, it has academia, it has these institutions, it has the presidency right now. And so we need someone who's actually going to do something about this, not Republicans who are just going to sit back and say, you know, this is wrong, this is bad, and complain, or have people fundraise or do all this stuff and then waste the money and not actually do anything to make a change. And so I think if Trump makes a comeback, he is going to drain the swamp, and he will make sure that these things don't happen to other people in the future, you know. It's almost like we need a mud wrestler or someone to get into, do the dirty work needed so that we can go back to having a country that operates in a way that is American. You know, what I think what the left is doing, it's just more than anything, it's so anti-American. I mean, this is what people do in third world countries. This is what leaders do in places that don't have the amazing, you know, constitutional rights and foundation that we do from our founding fathers. And so I think making America great again truly is going back to our Constitution and going back to the foundations of what make this country great, but also free. I mean, you cannot go after your political opponents in this way and say this is a free country. I mean, this is just complete embarrassment to the outside of America. I mean, even other people in other countries look at this and think, I cannot believe America has fallen to this level. And I think we need to, more than ever, stand by Trump, because Trump is the only one standing between us and this radical left. I mean, we know that the radical left wants to go after us too. That's why they're weaponizing the DOJ, and that's why they're weaponizing the IRS. They're putting a ton of money into these IRS agents so that they can go after middle-class Americans. I mean, they basically want to know everything you're doing, when and why. And I think that we've been primed so much into thinking that it's okay for the left to control us. It's okay for the left to go after us. I mean, it's almost like we're so used to the left going after conservatives and going after people like you, people like me, people like Trump, that we just kind of like ignore it. And that's, I think, something we cannot get desensitized to, because if we allow ourselves to become like worms, where the left basically controls us, they can go after us, and there's never a punishment, there's never any kind of repercussion, then they will never stop doing this. And it will only get worse. It will only become an even more gangsterized country. So I think that a huge wake-up call to the left is going to be when conservatives win big in the midterms. I mean, aside from helping Trump, this raid, I think it actually helps all of the MAGA candidates that are running. I mean, we've seen Carrie Lake, she won her primary, and she's an amazing candidate. We've seen, Liz Cheney, she was voted out, so she did not win her primary. So I think the American people are really speaking, and things like this raid are going to make this even more apparent.